Welcome back to the night class. One more time, we are going to do solving some more quadratic equations here. Today we're using square roots as well as the quadratic formula. All right, so example one, real quick. Hopefully you already know how to do this. How do we get rid of a square? I'm going to take the square root. X will equal 7. Very important.
Why is it positive or negative?
Because what's negative 7 times negative 7? 49. It is also an answer. Okay? So the square root, and I want you to understand here, if the problem, y'all listen really close, if the problem says simplify square root of 49, okay? If that's the problem, you just have to put 7. Okay? Is that what the problem said at the beginning? No. In order to solve it, we did what? We put the square root. In that case, you have to put both plus and minus because you did it. Okay? If it's a problem like this and they want the negative, they'll say negative square root of 49. And you just have to say negative 7. So always, if you are putting the square root, you have to put plus or minus. If the square root's already there, you can just do the positive. Everybody with me? Okay? So always remember that. All right? Next problem. Another one. What am I going to do here? I didn't quite go down far enough. Take the square root again. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
No, we have to do that thing.
Try putting that in your calculator.
It's
an error. What's it tell you?
Non-real answers.
So that means you have no. And again, it is technically real solution, but you'll learn about those other solutions later on. You do not have to put real, not for this class. I'm just trying to prepare you for your future math career, okay? Because you are going to get to a point where you have to put real, okay? It's coming. But for right now, for real, all we deal with is real answers in Algebra 1, okay? So if you want to put no solutions, I will know what you're talking about, okay? Everybody good on that one? If you put no real, I'll be like, okay, she's listening, and I appreciate that. Okay? Yes. No, you don't get bonus points. Y'all want bonus points for everything. No, you don't get bonus points. All right? How about that one?
13.
Square root. X is plus or minus 13.
No real solution.
No real solution.
It's easy now.
Okay? Because the square root of something, when you take the square root of something, that means you're saying something times itself equals this. Okay? So the only way to get a negative is to multiply a positive times a negative, and if one's positive and one's negative, they're not the same. So therefore, you don't have a real solution. Does that make sense? Okay? Everybody good? All right. Example 2. A little harder. 2 steps. What are we going to do? Divide by 7. That will be x squared equals, let's see here, that would be 116. Now what? Take the square root. Positive and negative 4. Okay? Any questions about how to do that? Same type problem, they'll just give you an extra step. Everybody good?
Does it get harder than this? What did you say about me?
Just a little. How about here?
Divide
by negative 3. 8. All right. We get to use what we just learned. Okay? Square root of 8 is 2 point blah, blah, blah. Does it say anything about rounding to the nearest whatever? No. If it doesn't say that, just assume they want it in radical form. Okay? So what would the square root of 8 be? Let's see here. We got 8. That'd be 2 and 4. 2 and 2. One pair of 2's. So it's plus or minus 2 square root of a 2 that's left over. Okay? Any questions? Again, that's why we had to learn the lesson before this to be able to write that answer like that. I am on example 2. Okay? Now, just so you know, on your state test, again, I'm teaching you a little bit more than you actually have to know. On your state test, they're not going to require you to do this, okay? They'll just let you leave your answer plus or minus square root of 8, okay? They're either going to tell you to leave it like that, or they're going to say round, okay? Probably they're just going to say round, okay? So I just want you to understand, this is extra stuff because you're honors, all right? All right? Yes, ma'am. Because on the last one, we got a nice, pretty, it was a perfect square, and we didn't have any leftovers. Square root of 8 is 2 point a bunch of numbers, yes. Weird, as you said, yes. Okay? It's not a perfect square. If it's a perfect square, you can write the number. If it's 8's not a perfect square. Okay? All right. Are you okay with those, or we need to do some more? You good? All right.
Understand it for once.
Understand. Okay. One more. I say one more. We got a bunch more. 3 steps.
Is this the hardest?
What are we going to do first? Add 5.
Is this the hardest?
Nope. That would be what? 27. Divide by 3. That would be 9. Take the square root. Don't forget your plus or minus.
That's the only part I'm going to forget.
Okay? It is. It's just algebra. This is literally just algebra. You just, on your last step, you're always taking the what? The square root. Okay? Now notice, we can only do this because we have our quadratic term, but if you notice, we don't have any linear terms. And what am I talking about when I say that? I'm going to write it standard form, right? Quadratic term, because it has the quadratic. Linear term, because it has the linear. And a constant. We don't have a linear term on any of these. So you can just work it out like a regular equation. Okay? If it has the linear term, then you got to start either graphing or factoring or doing something else.
Is that what
Okay? It does.
Not today. Does it come today?
Nope. All right, there's you a couple more to practice on. It's the same thing. Here we go. Real world problem. No problem at all. Cell phone tower has a guy wire. I'll have to be honest, okay? I always thought it was a guide wire, but apparently they're calling it a guy wire. Does anybody know if that's right or not? I always thought it was a guide wire, like it guides it, but what do I know? I teach math. Okay, so you have a guy wire support as shown. The height of the tower and the distance from the tower to where the guy wire is secured on the ground are the same distance. What is the height of the tower? So, what we used this earlier in our homework. What can we use here? X squared plus x squared equals 200 squared. Don't forget your squared. Okay? You cannot just yet. Okay? What is x squared plus x squared? 2x squared equals, that would be 4. I feel like it's more than that. Is it more than that? Is it just 40,000? Okay.
Yes.
And then we're going to divide that by
2.
So x squared equals 200,000, or 20,000, excuse me. All right. Now, take the square root. Is 20,000 a perfect square? It is not, but we can reduce it. That would be 2 and a 10,000, right? And 10,000 is actually 100 times 100. Now, okay, listen to me. Can I keep going?
Yes.
Don't. Okay, even though you can, because they're the same, and I'm looking for pairs. Okay, if I keep going, I'd get 10 and 10 and 10 and 10. And then I'd have two pairs of 10s. And so I'd bring out a 10 and a 10, and 10 times 10 is 100. So it's already done for you, okay? So this is going to be 100 square root of 2. Okay? That is your distance right there, 100 square root of 2. Now, I'm going to get into some geometry for you. Oh, you'll love this. Y'all probably already know this. If this side and this side are the same, what are these two angles? Do y'all know that? Or are you just assuming that? Have y'all been taught that? Have you been taught that? Okay, all right. Yes, if this side is equal to this side, right, then this angle and this angle have to be equal. You got me? Okay? So if those two angles have to be equal, can anybody tell me what they are? Nope. How many degrees are there in a triangle? 180. How many is right there? So these two have to add up to 90. So they'll be 45, 45. Okay? That is what we call in geometry 1. There's 2 of them. That is a special right triangle. Okay? And this little thing that happened, okay, we got 100 square root of 2 and 100 square root of 2. To get the hypotenuse, it's always the leg, 100 square root of 2 times the square root of 2. What is the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? It's the square root of 4, which is 2, and 2 times 100 is 200, which is what we got. Okay? So if you're on the ACT or something, I know some of you might be taking it here soon. If you're on the ACT and they have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, and you have, hey, this is 5, and this is 5, okay? I know the hypotenuse is just going to be 5 times the square root of 2, because it always is. If it's 15 and 15, what's the hypotenuse?
15 to the square root.
15 square root of 2. That's only for 45, 45, 90 triangles there, okay? It's a pattern. It happens every time. All right? If this is 150 and 150, that's going to be 150 square root of 2. Okay? Every single time. Like I said before, will you need that on the state test? Absolutely not. That's just a preview of what's to come in geometry. Okay? There's also another special right triangle because of 30, 60, 90. And it's cool too. You don't have to learn it today. All right, so here. We're going to use some of this that we already learned here. The distance from the base of the tower to the midpoint of the guy wire. So they want to know how far is this right here. All right. Well, we just learned how far is this. And this was 100 square root of 2, right? All right. So I'm showing you to help these problems be really easy, because you look at that on AC, you're like, oh my gosh, that's really hard. Watch how easy this is. What's my hypotenuse now? So what's this line? No.
100 of square root of 2.
This and this are my legs. This is my hypotenuse.
So what are you asking?
I'm asking, what is Z? I'm going to do this again.
It's 100. It's 100.
Look at you.
Because you have 100 square root of 2, so that means the legs have to be what? 100. Same thing. I'll show you another one. Okay? 45, 45. So if this is, say, 9 square root of 2, and it has an x there, what's x got to be? 9. Okay? That's fun. I don't care who you are. All right. All right. So all you're doing, you got page 380. You're just doing page 380. Okay? Tomorrow we get to learn the magical world of the completing the square. It's going to be fun. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day. See you next time, and always stay above the line.